Welcome to another episode of Counselor's Corner. I'm Jeremy Counselor, Dean of Baylor Law School. And today I'm very happy to be joined by second-year law student Casey Stege. Casey, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you, Dean Counselor. Thank you for having me.
And how are you doing?
I'm good. You know, we're about a week from finals.
That's right.
As we tape this, so
I appreciate you taking the time under those circumstances.
Absolutely.
So you are a person, like many law students, who had a career before coming to law school. Tell us what that was.
I did, a couple careers, but I spent 20 years in the Army. I was enlisted in the height of Iraq War, 2004, and just kind of on a whim and kind of see if I liked it. And I really loved what I was doing, and I loved serving with the people I served with. So I served 20 years, and when I was coming to retirement, I didn't know what to do.
So you are retired now from the Army.
Yes.
Okay. And you retired, I think, as a sergeant major.
I was a first sergeant, actually.
First sergeant.
I did my last 2 years as a sergeant major.
Okay. Very good. And what made you, obviously, if you're in the military, you're serving. Mm-hmm. What was it that made you think about law school or something else?
That was mostly the decision, like the deciding factor. First, we zeroed in on wanting to come to Texas. My wife's actually from Hewitt here, so we wanted to come to Central Texas. And
she's good people. I know immediately.
Oh, she is?
Yeah.
She's the best.
Yeah.
She'll tell you the same about me. And it was a lot of service, and I think I don't want to say I aged out of the Army, but in a lot of sense, it is a young man's game, a young person's game, and I wanted to continue to serve my community and be establish roots in a community. And I think if you think of kind of like a country lawyer, that's kind of how I envision nowadays, like being a upstanding member of my community.
Yeah. So is the plan, given that your wife is from Hewitt and now Hewitt is just a little suburb of Waco, is the plan for you to be here in the Central Texas community long term?
Potentially, hopefully. We did buy a house here, and we have made some good friends here, and we really enjoy Waco. It's kind of a lot of hidden gems here. So if it works out that way, yes, but we're still open to kind of like Central Texas corridor is kind of where we want to be.
Well, it's a great place to be. I mean, I've really enjoyed being here for over 20 years, so I recommend it highly. I think I have this right, that your undergraduate degree is from New Mexico State. Is that right?
Yes.
So did that happen before you joined the Army, or?
It did. Yeah. It did. So I studied journalism at New Mexico State. And I moved back home to work at my hometown newspaper.
Where is that?
In Las Vegas, New Mexico, which is also a small town. And pretty quickly I realized there wasn't no real opportunities for money, and it's really hard to move up. And even at that time, newspapers were kind of a dying industry. And it wasn't the quickest way out, but it was a way out, and it was something I was very interested in.
The Army.
So I graduated and then enlisted a year later.
And there's a small, but it seems to me pretty tight-knit community of military veterans and active duty reserve here at the law school. There's some really good people, a lot of different experiences, different branches. One of the service members, she just graduated in November, was Laura, and she was in the Space Force. And she was the most helpful person when I got here. It is pretty. I think I remember seeing you at her graduation.
I was, yeah. Her and another guy, Chris Martino, who are both good veterans. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, the veterans enrich our community here just in very special ways. And one of the things that we have always tried to do at the law school is try to connect the rule of law and the people who are willing to defend the place where the rule of law can thrive. And so the U.S. military and your service is much, much appreciated by us here. And we love having veterans as part of our community. Okay, you have done some things while in law school that I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
One of them is the Academy of the Advocate in St. Andrews. I think you were there last summer. Is
I was,
that right?
yes.
Okay. Tell me what course you took there and about that experience generally.
I did the Academy of the Advocate, the basic one.
Trial school,
the school of the trial. It was a fantastic experience. I think I grew in those 2 weeks. It doesn't seem like you spend a lot of time in class, but I think with the professors that are there, the practitioners, the judges providing feedback, I think from day 1 until day 10, I guess that'd be, I think I grew a lot. I learned a lot. And it's a little more informal way of kind of being able to pick the brains of some of these very experienced attorneys. So it was the best experience I've had so far.
What sort of things did you do for fun while you were there?
Oh, me and another student, we went to, you have a break in the middle, about 3.5 days, and we went to London on the way to Bovington, which is a tank museum in South England. And they have a live tank display, and they kind of do a show, and it was something he wanted to do, and I kind of tagged along, and it was really fun. So,
were tanks any part of your experience in the Army?
I worked around them a lot. I was actually I was at Fort Hood, which is an hour and a half away from
Cavazos now.
Well, now they're back to Hood.
Is it? Oh, it's back to Hood. Okay,
Yep.
I can't keep track.
Changes with the political winds.
Yeah,
but,
I guess so.
I worked with them, and I'd rather walk, I think, than ride around in a tank. But yeah.
But still, you wanted to go see tanks while you were in.
Well, yeah, it's the museum, and they have tanks from like when tanks were kind of first introduced to the battlefield in like the end of World War I, and they have tanks that still run from World War II that they show off and stuff. So it was interesting. I guess it was.
Any restaurants that you enjoyed while you were there?
Little Italy in St. Andrews was probably my favorite.
We used to not tell people. We faculty used to not tell people about that restaurant.
Yeah, I probably spent too much money there on food.
It's easy to do.
But it was good. That was certainly the favorite.
Great restaurant. I look forward to that one in particular every year. Okay, there's some other things you've done. My understanding is you were selected for the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States and Student Veterans of American Legislative Fellowship. Tell me about those. Yeah,
so that was in 2024 is when I was selected, and it's what the fellowship is it's a you're paired with the VFW representing the Student Veterans of America, and we were advocating for a bill called the National Guard and Reserve GI Bill Parity Act. And it really is supposed to be grassroots advocacy. And I learned a lot once again, but I ran into some hiccups. But we were able to talk to congressmen, go to the Student Veterans National Convention, and kind of network with Student Veteran Association chapters from across the country. And the bill has not passed yet, but we're still hopeful that it will.
Yeah. So did you have to go to Washington, D.C. to do that?
I was unable to go because of LARC 3 moot court. But that was part of the plan, but there was no way around it.
Yeah, you had a moot court competition here.
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. How'd you do?
I did not make break.
Okay. Well, you should have blown it off and gone to D.C. No, I'm kidding. You shouldn't have done that. You did. You did the right thing. Yeah. All right. The other thing that you do is intramural basketball here.
Yeah.
So talk about intramural sports at the law school.
Well, I think it's done really well. It's not too serious, but some of the games can get too serious. But I think it's a good way to put something on your calendar to go have fun. I think it's easy in law school to kind of get wrapped in finals are coming up, or I have to do this, write this motion for summary judgment, or read for this class. But if you give yourself a couple hours, it's kind of forces you to do it, and it's been really fun. I've met a lot of good people playing basketball, and you kind of see who can play and who can't, and sometimes it gets a little competitive.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
Do you have referees, or are you just calling your own fouls? Kind of thing?
Call your own fouls, and then sometimes Catherine Sims will be there to adjudicate, it's all you need.
Yeah. Well, what could go wrong calling your own fouls among law students? So here you are in your second year of law school. What sort of courses are you taking right now?
So currently I'm in business and state issues and environmental law, remedies, individual liberties, federal administrative law, and regulation of healthcare professionals and client relations.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I'm curious. We talked a little about maybe staying here in the Central Texas area.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of legal career do you think you want to have? You mentioned country lawyer, but which that has a certain appeal. I admit to me as well. But what do you think you see for yourself in the future?
Well, so I have after the transactional quarter, which I had last year, I've kind of really interested in a transactional career, but I also realized that we'll say I'm about to go into practice court, so that might change some things. So I think I kind of want to be able to do a little bit of everything. And I think the goal of coming to law school and being an attorney is to be a respected member of my community and also be able to provide for my family. So I think those are the two main considerations that I have. And I'm not really interested in the big law hours and the big law career. I've worked 80-hour weeks before, and I'm not too interested in that. So I know I'll accept that there's a possibility that'll happen sometimes, but not all the time. So
yeah. When you say a respected member of the community, what does that? Because I think I hear what you're saying, but what does that mean? What would that involve for you?
I think especially as an attorney, someone that the people in your community know that they can call and they can trust what you're saying. They'll trust that you'll do the right thing, and they'll trust that you give them honest counsel. I think that's like the starting point as far as being in a career like that can be as high profile or as consequential as an attorney. I think that's kind of the starting point, is being someone that people in your community can call and they trust that what you're saying and what you're doing is in their best interest.
Yeah. I think I hear a little bit of this in your other answers, but I'm wondering what 20 years in the Army, what you brought with you to law school that you think is helpful or maybe not helpful? What?
I think the things that are not helpful, we'll start there because that's kind of the easiest one for me, is I think I came from a position where I knew everything that was happening. And in a lot of sense, I was the person like dictating how things were happening or when they would happen. And then coming out of that to going back to kind of have to be a better follower and kind of being responsible more just for myself and besides like the people that I was like in charge of in the Army, or I wouldn't say in charge, but that I served for in the Army. I think that's the hardest part for me, has been kind of I'm only responsible for myself, and there's no excuses.
Yeah, it's a mindset change.
It is.
Yeah,
it's huge.
Yeah.
I think the best things I've brought from the Army is a work ethic, and even if I'm not understanding, I'll do my best to figure it out and just kind of keep grinding away at it. And I think that's the best kind of trait I've brought from my Army service.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, we have come to the lightning round. Questions are silly.
Yes.
Answers have to be short.
I've seen before.
Okay. What's a simple habit that instantly improves your mood?
Drinking coffee.
Comfort food you could eat anytime.
Lasagna.
Go-to activity when you have an unexpected free afternoon.
Golf.
Would you rather live in a bustling city or a quiet small town?
Quiet small town on the edge of a bustling city.
There you go. What's a song that instantly takes you back to a specific memory?
Anthony Hamilton, Cool. And my wife and I, we've taken some dance lessons. I've not taken very well to it, but that's kind of the song we practice to. So.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Best spontaneous decision you've ever made?
Going on my first date with my wife.
What's the last show you binge watched?
Landman.
Favorite movie soundtrack?
Last of the Mohicans.
Good answer. Good answer. Casey, you passed the lightning round. I understand you have a question for me.
I do have a question. Now, with a qualifier,
Okay.
Everyone wants to know the story about the Land Cruiser out there, or the Land Rover.
Land Rover.
Discovery out there.
Okay.
But
okay.
my question is,
What is that question? What do people want to know?
how old is it when you get in a new one?
The question is, why do you drive a piece of junk? That's the question.
Just when you get a new one, I think is.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna answer that. I am cheap. I don't like
Same.
spending money.
Same.
I don't need to communicate anything to anybody based on the car I drive.
Yep.
And that vehicle has a mission. And the vehicle's mission is to get me from my home to this parking lot. And that vehicle can achieve that mission at a low cost.
Yep. I agree completely.
Yeah.
Have you seen my truck?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
And I just, it doesn't, now the vehicle is coming to the point where it is giving signs that it can
Right.
no longer achieve that mission for much longer.
Right.
So I think something will change on that front in the next, let's say, year. But the car I had before that one was a Honda Accord, a very old, even older than that, Honda Accord, and I regret getting rid of it.
Yep. I understand completely.
Yeah.
Speaking of change.
Nice segue.
question.
Nice segue,
Yes.
Casey. Very good.
If you had a magic wand to change one part of the Baylor Law experience starting tomorrow, what would you change and why?
I know I know exactly what I would do. I would make Baylor Law School such that no student had to pay a dime in tuition to come here. That is, we provide very significant scholarship funding, but still, law school is a significant investment for most students, and it's not only what you may pay in tuition, but you're giving up things, right? You're giving up 3 years of being able to work another job, and so anything we can do to improve affordability, particularly because I deeply, deeply believe in what we do at Baylor Law School and the value we provide students. And I just wish that the money wouldn't be a barrier for any student to come here. So if I had a magic wand, that's the wand I would wave it in that direction for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you. That's the answer I was hoping I'd hear. So.
Thanks, Casey. I appreciate it. This has been great, and appreciate you taking the time,
Yes, sir.
especially
Thank
the
you.
week before finals.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.